pour ça, nous les points autant aujourd'hui, pour dire un pile merci. Prince Wadix, 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 Prince Wadix. We thanking you. Yes, I. Sakai Malad. Prince Wadix, Prince Wadix, Prince Wadix, Prince Wadix. Pas pour arrêter, bah mon frère là, yo mange à quitter la vie. Apprécier ça, yo qu'a fait qu'on yo a parmi nous aujourd'hui. Là c'est mauvais valet, puis non, nous qu'a crucifié mon épi. Faut nous connaître, vous mais yo c'est pour nous tout ça bénéfice. For only wonders you done for us all, spreading the culture all over the world. For all the good things that you done for Cadence Wadix. We thanking you. We thanking you, brother. Trick, trick. Ajan lo moun bisou pa sa ki chale yo point wivi ici. Faut nous connaître quoi yo a commencement Cadence music. Gordon Henderson, Fricks, Troy Williams, yo. Vivian Wallace, Exile, One Groovers, Jeff Joe. Yo passé tous les voyages musique nous. Mais attends jodi, jeunesse te qui la J. Si pas te Wadix qui ka poussé. For all the wonders you done for us all, spreading the culture all over the world. For all the good things that you done for Cadence Wadix. We thanking you. We thanking you, brother. Trick, trick. Pas pour arrêter, bah mon frère là, yo mange à quitter la vie. Apprécier ça, yo qu'a fait qu'on yo a parmi nous aujourd'hui. Là c'est mauvais valet, puis non, nous qu'a crucifié mon épi. Faut nous connaître, vous mais yo c'est pour nous tout ça bénéfice. For all the wonders you done for us all, spreading the culture all over the world. For all the good things that you done for Cadence Wadix. We thanking you. We thanking you, brother. Trick, trick. Pour tout ça au café, et puis au Japon, pour culture nous, et pour ça au café, pour Cadence la esprit, et puis pour ça, nous les points autant aujourd'hui, pour dire un pile merci. Prince Wadix, 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 Prince Wadix.
Pleasant good morning to you wherever you are listening to DBS Radio. We want to welcome you in a very special way to another Creole Heartbeat program. It's a historic day in Dominica. Extremely, extremely good tidings. It's Women's Day, International Women's Day. We want to wish all women a special International Women's Day. But today, the legacy continues. Today is a very important day in the history of music in the Caribbean, and in particular music from Dominica. We have the creator of Cadence Lypso music, Mr. Gordon Henderson. We also have a special guest, Chubby Philip Mack. He is known as the undisputed king of Cadence Lypso music with us. We'll have a few words. It's also historic in the sense that a special film documentary, Under the Sun, will be actually covered by this particular emission, this particular edition of Creole Heartbeat. Just a few words just before we actually interview Mr. Chubby Philip Mack. Just want to say good morning to Gordon Henderson.
Good morning, Prince Wadix, or should I say King Wadix?
I can accept if it is from you, from the king, two kings, two champions, and
we're three kings of Orient.
so if I'm promoted, I can accept. And also good morning to Chubby Philip Mack, South City, ça a fait frère.
Moi la Chibi Belfort.
Tout bagaille bien.
Bien même.
Gordon, this is historic. And you, as the one who actually, with your friends, created Cadence Lypso music. Prior to that, we know of your history as a Calypsonian. You also did quite a bit of work with Levy King. But you actually wrote a book, Zoukland. And presently, we are in the process, you are particularly in the process now, of actually doing a documentary film on that particular book. Tell us a little about that.
Okay, well, the book, as you said, is titled Zoukland. The film is titled Fusion Under the Sun. And what we hope to do, or what we are doing, in fact, because we have been filming in the islands. We are in Dominica right now. Next, we'll go to Trinidad and continue Martinique as far as the Indian Ocean and prove that with the contribution of Dominicans, many Dominicans, we were able in the 1970s to fuse efforts and talents together and start a semblance of a music industry that went right across the world. As a matter of fact, at some point, they started referring to it as world music.
And presently, you are on island. You did some shooting in France, also in Guadeloupe. You plan to cover several other countries and get to the whole metamorphosis of Caribbean music, in particular Cadence Lypso music, and your mission presently in Dominica.
Well, shooting the Dominica leg of the film, so far we've met with one gentleman, Mr. Norman Layton, who has been active in music before the 1970s, and that is very important for us. And we are meeting. We must say that this Creole Heartbeat show is being filmed. So, well, it's filmed by DBS Radio, but it is filmed as well by the crew of Fusion in the Sun. And we will hear of all the struggles, the successes, because, you know, music is not an easy job. Some people may think that it's all laughter, and so people like King Chubby will tell us about the struggles, about the successes, because they are nice times too, very nice times. Particularly when we were young. The girls, man, the girls.
Okay, we also should be having a conversation with Ophelia Laguadam de la Chanson Atiès. She's the Cadence Lypso Queen. We also should be having a conversation with Pato of Black Roots from Soufriere. But with us is Chubby Philip Mack from South City and the Midnight Groovers, the Café du Plaisir. It makes us very happy to have you, meet once again, Chubby, to be part of this experience here this morning. Just want to go way back to the beginning, Chubby. Tell us from the beginning. We know you actually sang Calypso before you actually entered into the Calypso arena. Tell us from the actually beginning of Chubby and the Midnight Groovers.
Well, Wadix, very thank you much. But you know, the beginning for myself, that's when I started in Calypso. I started Calypso, well, in 1971. I think I get a road match with Mado Sog to me. And then the next one with Freedom Street, Don Freedom Street Lagon. So I get 2 road match. But I didn't continue in Calypso because after I did that, then we formed a band. We formed Midnight Groovers. And then from there we used to play Malangue, we used to play other songs, Calypso. But then we decided to migrate because the condition for of our music not really growing in Dominica, so we had to move and so on. But in moving now, The only group that was in Guada which we meet, it was Mr. Henderson, that was Gordon. We did Exile 1. And it was a joy. Although the struggle was definitely tight on us, but it was still joy.
Let us go to the struggle first. How difficult was it for you from Grand Bay going across to Guadeloupe and actually trying to record? How difficult was it? We'll deal with the good times after.
Yeah, well, it wasn't really difficult in a certain form because when you get to Guadeloupe, then they introduce us to Debs. When we meet Debs say, okay, no, what do you have? All the material. So we had one song. I nam kapotezano. So we say we have a song, so we can try to put it down on record. He said, no problem. But the problem it should be no cafe. So we did that, and then from there, the man from business, then we did Talon with Debs too. Normal Form was a single, but Talon was a complete album and so with different songs. And then, but the struggle was really tight because we was renting a room, 9 of us in the room. And,
wow. And where exactly you lived in Guadeloupe?
We live in Petit Peu.
Petit Peu, yes.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And 9 of you guys in a room?
9 of us in a room.
One room?
Well, it's a little 2 room, but you have to say it's 1 room.
Yes.
So, well, from there we grew.
Tell us about the room, man, because we want to know how tough it was and how you survived, in that room.
Well, 9 of us really did, but nobody didn't have more money to circulate.
Yes.
What I used to do myself, when the afternoon time come, I go under cane field and get cane and I, do my business. Mm-hmm. If I meet a good partner of mine in the town, then I'll talk to him, then he give me 100 franc, 50 franc, whatever. So by that, until we make the CD with Debs and then he get a little money, and then we was quite satisfied with him. But we wasn't studying money. All we want is the push.
Mm-hmm. So at the time, your main focus was to get your band recorded so your music could play.
Yes,
Can you recall how much you were paid that first record?
How much Debs and paid?
How much Debs paid you?
Well, it's just a couple of francs in what? It's not plenty. About
3,000 francs?
About 3,000 francs.
And he gave you some records?
And he gave us some records and so.
Now, from there, what happened? Because in terms of, I would imagine you share the money with some of your band members.
Well, yeah, you have to do it later, but after that, we went down to Boston. We used to play in Jackie.
Plantation.
Yes.
So you moved from Petit Peu and then you head to Boston.
To Boston. We stayed there for at least 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah.
And how things were in Boston? Better?
Better. Yeah. Mm-hmm. A lot of times. Mm-hmm. We used to play twice a week. Mm-hmm. So from there, from that Boston, then we head down. We decided we're not staying in Guadeloupe no more. We plunged on to Dominica. With couple instruments Debs had given us. Not plenty instruments, just some users, what they call that?
Sound system. They give you a few speakers and amplifiers.
Yes. Bass guitars too. Because he had loved Co, my brother.
Co, okay.
And Debs had a brand new guitar. They make that for him especially, from the factory. And he just get to Co.
Because he loved how Co was
Because he loved how Co played and so. Mm-hmm. So from there, after we did the Sukwesaku album, we head down.
Okay, so you did the Sulia Talaho, you did the 2 singles, then you went to Boston.
Yeah.
And after Boston, when you reached Boston, you did the I Sukwesaku album.
Before Boston? Mm-hmm. No. After we leave Boston, we make the Sukwesaku.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah.
And then it was after that you came down?
And after that we came down.
But why did you decide to come down to Dominica?
Well, that's where we're from.
Okay, but then in terms of your music, how it was hitting the Guadeloupe in particular? How was it doing in
Very
Guadeloupe?
good.
Very been played on the radio.
And look here, the only band that played in Deb's restaurant is Midnight Groover, And when the man bring us there to play, remember we were dreads.
Rasta.
Yeah, we were dreads, and then I was wondering how we gonna do that there because the type of people that fall in that Deb's place, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then when Deb's called us to play, after we play, everybody say, don't stop, you know. Continue. And they find well the music was something else, Wadix. So after that, we decided we're going down Dominica. And we come down here and then we just decide we stay here because here is our land. And the Cadence was doing it very good in Dominica for that time. Yeah, very good. So we stay in Dominica doing our stuff until we get to be traveling different places and come back in there and so on.
Tell us about the different places that you travel to.
Well, we went to St. Thomas, St. Croix. We play in Grenada. We play in England. We play in La Réunion. We play in a couple places and so on. And well, we enjoyed to the max.
You played also in the USA, I would imagine?
Yeah, we play in St. Thomas, we play in St. Croix. And then we go up to Belgium.
Yeah,
we play in Belgium.
We played together in New York.
Okay.
Yes, me and Mr. Anderson played together.
So, can you remember that jam in New York with Exile One and Midnight Groovers?
I cannot remember everything, you know, but I know definitely that happened. Yeah.
Well, I can add that it was so successful that they wanted to add an extra night, and Ko said, no, he has to go back to change his clothes.
I can imagine. But I mean, during those days, Cadence Lypso was, a big movement.
Yes, big.
And I would imagine the people who, we call them now diaspora, who migrated, to the USA.
Yeah.
Hearing of the music and now actually getting that opportunity to dance on Midnight Groovers and Exile One. That would have been a major experience.
Exactly. And Cadence was hitting it big in Dominica.
Yes.
Cadence is the only music from Dominica that make it big, I don't know where the Bouillon will reach, but I know where the Cadence reach.
In your mind, how far you think the Cadence really made Dominica's name? How far they brought Dominica's name?
Well, it's a music everybody like, man. Whether once you listen to the beat and you love to dance, you will dance. But Cadence make it almost through the world, Yeah. Distribution and record from Debs and other producers and so they're spreading that in Africa, different places, And that's what's making it big. So again, in Dominica there now, the music just changed completely. You find, people are not really looking out for Cadence's music. Right now they're looking out for Bouillon. And then the Bouillon can go places, but man have to change harmonize of the music, because chanting and singing is two different things. Yeah, you have Bouillon artists, but what you do, you chanting, you're not singing. But then you find the Trinidad then playing their soca, but they're singing, so that soca going. But with our Bouillon, it's not going far because most men just chanting, but they're not singing what do. So that's our problem.
Okay, we'll talk about the Bouillon in a while. I know you had a bon temps. Midnight Groovers had some real good time. Tell us about the good times while playing with Midnight Groovers during the heyday.
Well, everywhere we played in Dominica and other places, it was a nice time,
Yeah.
Yeah, people loved the music and then we enjoyed ourselves, and so it was big money. We wasn't making money at that time, but we had love our music, and we want to see the music reach a certain places. So we was in it. So it's just like on now, so we planning to make another CD. But I don't have much Cadence band like before.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how it will work, but we have to do that. Continue on the music until we finish. At my age there right now, I heading up for 80. So I can't,
heading up to 80?
Yeah, heading up to 80 right now. I can't do much.
You can't do much. But Chubby, can you recall any dance or any show that you really had a very good response from the audience, or you yourself and Midnight Groovers really enjoyed? Any show, it could be a local show or a show.
You mean even in Dominica?
No, well, it could either be in Dominica. The show to your mind that was maybe the best performance Midnight Groovers ever gave.
Well, the best performance we give is in Belgium.
Belgium.
Yeah.
Tell us
really
tell us
nice.
about the Belgium experience.
Well, Belgium was a festival. To me, that is one of the biggest festival I saw already. And people coming from Africa and different places, you know. 9 bands, 5 bands playing together, you know what it's. Carry Me a place, Groovers a place, another band the next place. Each band have their stage. And it's massive crowd, man. Yes. Very, very nice. And I really enjoy it.
To you, that was, the best performance ever of...
to me,
yes.
To me, that's the best. And so.
When you look back at your career, you look back at the kind of work that you produce, the lyrical content, what makes you feel most proud of the work that you have actually laid down for Midnight Groovers and for Dominica?
Well, I know you must speak of the right thing, say the right thing in music, do the right thing, and that's all. Because the problem is, music is harmony, nice harmony, can push out the music and so. But without the harmony, the music can't go nowhere. If you make a music and people not dancing, best you didn't make it. You know what I mean? But apart of that, the music was just joy and love. Joy and love. We wasn't making big money, but the joy and love was there in us. You know what I mean? And that's why I know so. People dying for our music. People who still want our music. People already call, look, we're going to send to Shine Me and play for Jazz Festival up there. And every year we're there. Every year, St. Lucia is like Dominica to us, you know. Yeah, man. Every Saturday by the market in St. Lucia, so when you hear Midnight Groovers, there's a festival that day, you know. Yeah. They really love the Cadence. So Mr. Henderson do a work. And I have to give him many thanks for that, man. Because if it wasn't that, we wouldn't be nowhere.
Yeah.
It's really true. He started, but we had to support it for to reach certain places and so.
That's why I always say, well, we started it, but without the 33 other groups, including Midnight Groovers, there would be no movement.
Exactly.
Because everybody came together and made a movement, and that movement is there. Because you spoke about Bouillon a while ago, which I agree with you is fantastic music, but it has to stand the test of time. So in 2084, if it's still around, then we will know. Well, we will know, I will know.
Our children and maybe grandchildren may send the message
Stand the
through
test of time.
Yes. You were talking a little about the Bouillon, but in terms of the lyrics of what you hear today, and the amount of effort you put into the lyrical content of your music, how it makes you feel when you hear the type of lyrics that coming out today in our music?
Well, you know, to me, what musicians looking for now is money, you know. They will put anything together just for the money, but the money not all. You know what I mean? We need good words in music, man, in order for the music to go places. And in order for people to enjoy it, it have to be good words, man. Because dirty lyrics can't go nowhere. That's just a foolish thing to do, to put dirty lyrics in your music. You can't play it for your kid. My music can play in church. It can play anywhere. People respect my music, man. You know what I mean? And that is what I would like the Dominican artists right now, the present artists now to do. Concentrate on good words. You know? Passé nous ka passé.
Which is a song you wrote, whenever you play it gives you the most pleasure? The song you wrote or the song you made, arranged,
well,
and give you the most pleasure whenever you play that song.
Well,
we're not talking about the favorite of the fans. We're talking about you in particular, the song that you made.
Well, my favorite is Moa.
Moa,
yeah.
Yes, that is the one talking about the Bible.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, and in these times we have to, do all things right. Follow the Bible.
Do everything right. You don't want to follow the Bible, but just do
things right.
Exactly.
Because you think that have a positive, let's say.
Yeah, that is what that keeping us up. You know, false words, whatever, they're good for us. What can keep us up is righteous words, good words. You know what I mean? That can send the music away. But the problem is, Because of the money, we just saying anything. Yeah, anything. You have to respect the public. You have to respect kids. You have kids at your home, and you play nice music, and they can really enjoy the music. You understand me, Rodix? So I would like Dominican musicians to change their style, the way they making their music. That's not the way it is. Without good words in music, we can't reach nowhere. Nowhere at all.
Yes, Gordon, you wanted to add something?
I wanted to say that maybe about 20 years ago, I heard Chubby in an interview talking on the same subject, and the word he used, I remember, that was slackness.
Yes.
He doesn't want any slackness in the lyrics. That was about 20 or 25 years ago. So can you imagine?
And he has maintained his lyrical content.
Yeah.
And a lot of his music is like spiritual food for the nation, you know, consciousness.
Exactly.
The lyrics very conscious and very potent.
Exactly.
But anything special you want to tell your fans? Because this film is going to be shown globally.
Oh, yeah.
All over Africa, and I know most of them are Africa. Vous déjà allé Afrique, tu as pas allé Afrique.
Non, voilà.
C'est là où les aller. On sont Afrique, nous les aller.
Joko te café.
Joko te café.
Non, ma café Joko.
Où les aller Afrique. Où les aller
Afrique.
Eh ben.
Mais nous pouvons vivre là, ma si c'est Henderson qui fait nous vivre.
Nous pouvons jamais ça. Nous pouvons
un film là.
Nous pouvons more vivant. Well, I know you want to tell your fans, I mean, a special thank you globally, not only just Dominica, but people who have really listened and enjoy your music.
Yeah.
You know, globally.
Well, I just want to tell everybody, stay together. Put God first and just enjoy yourself. Because life is short. Nobody don't know the end of their life. So life is short. So I will enjoy ourselves, do the good things, and then just free up. One love always. I love everybody. I hope everybody love me too. Yeah.
Thank you, Chubby Philip Mack, a legend. This is Creole Heartbeat, sponsored by Digicel, and we just had a chit chat with Chubby Philip Mack on his triumphs, challenges, Midnight Groovers, Undisputed Kings of Cadence, possibly the most popular Cadence Lypso band in Dominica. We should be hooking up with Ophelia, la Guadame de la Chanson ATS. She should be somewhere in the US of A as we get it set. By the way, Digicel will be having a special shopping spree at Astafans later today. So those of you who may want to be part of this, you could check out Astafans at 2 o'clock. Do we have la Guadame on the line? Yes, good morning. Bonjour la Guadame.
Bonjour Adix, bonjour Gordon, bonjour Chubby, bonjour tout le monde.
Ok.
Bonjour.
Ça qu'a fait, Doudou.
Eh ben, mon bien, et puis mon content de ces grands messieurs à parler à ces cadences là. Parce que chaque les mon vrai Gordon, c'est comme si dit mon petit maman là qui te joigne la première fois, là il te fait premier disque là et puis moi.
You can recall that moment when you first met with Gordon Henderson, and from all reports you told me you had that ballad, I Dominic, Can you recall that moment?
Yes, I remember that moment. Well, Gordon is Mark's friend. And I think, I don't know which one will die first, but these are two people, I think, whoever dies first will make way for the other one. And say, and tell St. Peter, well, let that one pass. You know what I mean? And I was lucky to be married to Mark Marie. And he liked to hear me sing. I think it was in Folk Nativity he heard me sing first. And he decided, what boy, I must edge up by that lady. So he came close. We were at school together. We did French together. So he came closer. And then when it was time to get married, we did. And he spoke to Gordon and told Gordon, there's this lady. I don't know how he referred to me. I wasn't there, but I was told that he told Gordon that Ophelia can sing and he would like her to do an album. Whether Gordon, could find somebody who would be interested in an artist like me. And Gordon just said, and it's only lately I found that out, Gordon just said, well, she has to come to France because that's where he was with his fellow musicians. And he did. I was afraid of those fellas, because you hear they were at least 7 years working, and you could hear about Exile One on the radio and so on. When I saw him, I said, oh, okay. He had one big Mercedes Benz that he came to pick us up in at the airport. I don't know if he remembers that, but I remember it was the first time I had seen snow, and I wasn't sure if we could get off the plane to go into the snow. But I saw the others going, and then Max says, let's go, Fidia. So we went, and the snow was fine. And then we went into the airport, and Gordon found us, and he had all that very whatning. And he and Max started to talk about music, but he welcomed me, and I think that was the first step up I had in that music something, because it was as if I had gotten a scholarship, I had arrived, and then I met the others. But, Gordon is a prolific musician who can play a lot of instruments, and many of those instruments on my first album, Gordon played. And Gordon was the one who made me change the I Dominic, tam tam to a Cadence Lypso.
Can you remember, Ophelia,
yes.
after this album was released,
Mm-hmm.
can you recall, how did that actually change your career?
Well, it started the career, because before that I was just singing. Since I was a little girl, I was born in Curacao, so I remember I was age 4 when I was a little king, bringing a gift for Jesus in a little Christmas play. And I remember that rather vaguely, but my teacher's name was Frau Chocolat, and there was Frau Maduro. And afterwards, I came to Dominica, age 9, and I used to sing, but in the St. Luke's School concerts, because that's where I went to primary school. And then afterwards, there was the Patois song competition, and I did three times. I came out third, first, and first. And the last time I came first, it was with I Dominic. And it's only then, I would have been fine with my little singing like that in church and so on and so on. But when Mac Marie spoke and Gordon said yes, that is when the thing started. So it's Gordon's fault. Whatever I do is Gordon's fault.
And it is his fault positively. But from then, Ophelia, what happened with your career?
Okay, when the music was released, it was a whole story, because people weren't particularly keen on playing women's music on the radio, and I'm talking Guadeloupe, Martinique, Cayenne, France, because Dominica too was growing in its musical genres and what have you. And by the time Gordon and them had something like 7 years, there must have been 19 or so bands playing. But the only lady inside there was Janet Azuz, who was a member of
Bell's Combo and Mantra.
No,
Mantra.
Yes. And she did very well, I think. And women were not well viewed on the stage. They felt that was a boy's thing. Even in Dominica, when I was with Mommy at home in Point Michel, and there were swinging busters, I had no right to go by practice and listen to boys playing music. We were the sheltered type, and Mommy had 4 girls, so all of us had to stay inside, and we could only sing at church time. But because Mac Marie has a different purview, you know how special Mark is, and with his thought processes and so. That started, and then Gordon had the music in his hands, because it's he who sponsored the entire recording and everything. So that recording was his, he had to go and look for a place to sell the music. And when he went to Guadeloupe, those people took the music. They took the music and they made it big. And then they started to say, well, we need to see that lady sing. No, I don't even know. I never see nobody sing for me to come and know what to do, what not to do. I remember there was a particular song that Mark wanted me to sing, and Gordon said no. Because, I don't know if he remembers that, but the song was won by Taboo Combo, and it had all its double entente and what have you. And Gordon said, no, Ophelia is not singing that song. And then Mark, who recognized the protocol that he had to follow there, decided, okay, Ophelia, we won't do that one. But because Miriam Makeba was my favorite icon, because I used to hear her on the radio and I knew her songs, he said, okay, well, we can do some Miriam Makeba music. And the first song I sang on stage was I Shall Sing, La 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 La, which was a Miriam Makeba song. And the people just wrapped me up. I mean, they just enveloped me. They gave me the opportunity to express myself. And by the way, as a lady, and as a married woman, so you know I couldn't milk away at all on the stage. I had to be the lady, and I really thank all the people who allowed me to do it, because it was mostly men. I know it's International Women's Day, but the men gave me the opportunity, men starting with Mac Marie and Gordon Henderson. And then it just took off. I Dominique, up to now I'm saying Modi, but what I Dominique has in it that people like that, when I hush in my mouth now, I'm not asking again. Because I believe that came from above.
Divine.
And there is a reason, and there's a reason why up to now it is still there. People who used to forget my name used to call me the lady who's singing I Dominique. So I Dominique was like my middle name. And Martinique say, well, if she can sing in Guadeloupe, she can sing in Martinique too. So I went to do a big show in Hall des Sports. You know, and I had to dress in a certain way, and I could talk French, so they brought me on the radio station, and I had to say my story over and over and over again. You know, and you sometimes say, well, why I have to sing I Dominique? I should sing something else. Oh, no. If I don't sing I Dominique, people ask for it. So I have to sing it. It's like Kassav. If you like, Kassav came to Dominique and they were singing the same songs every time. They just had to change, you know, maybe do it in a medley or add one song with another one, change it up, and then dance. Well, I'm not a dancer, but I moved to the left and I moved to the right, and the rhythm stayed.
Ophelia, we know that you were always cushioned by your husband and manager, Mark Murray, but were there any, major challenges during your career out there?
Well, yes. Well, like if Mark Murray couldn't travel, I did not go and do a whole set of shows they asked me to do. Because remember, he had other preoccupations. I had other preoccupations too. Because it wasn't possible for me to go straight into the music and stay alone in the music. So sometimes those other preoccupations challenged me. Also, there were gentlemen who said things, but you know Mark's face. So when you saw Mark's face, you had to move away. And then he started asking, of course, for security. He would not allow his wife or his artist to go on stage if there were not two bouncers who could bounce people off the stage. Because people get crazy when they see a musician or an artist that they like performing songs that they love, you know. And I remember this guy okay, I'm supposed to stay on the negatives. I don't like to do that, but I have to tell you that I usually pray before I go on stage, and that has helped me to ward off a whole set of things. Sometimes people wanted to play and say they don't want to pay you and things like that. So we learned early that we have to speak early about our money, and that we have to draw. Because if you're doing it for a living, and the money doesn't come, then you cannot reinvest and you cannot buy a new bass guitar as Chubby, or you cannot pay for the house that you have to stay in as Gordon. You know, so I didn't have the kind of malaise and sufferation, like the Rasta would say, that the gentleman had.
How difficult was it witnessing the death when you and Jeff actually witnessed the death in Martinique of Remy Cobalt? Copet, sorry, Copet.
Yeah, Copet. Yes.
How difficult was that? I mean, on stage.
Ooh, you brought me straight to that. Well, that was a rough time. I didn't see it myself because it was, well, a festival actually that was going on. I had performed, and then Jeff's band was bigger than mine, so they had to put in more space, plug in more equipment and what have you. But by that time, the hotel wasn't far, and I was saying I would like to go back to the hotel. So Copet's partner took me to the hotel, and perhaps it felt like half an hour afterwards, Mac Marie arrived. So I asked, what happened? Why didn't you stay for the show? And he told me Copet went and he grabbed it was at the Hall Expo, and there was a kind of veranda railing. It's not veranda, no, but a kind of railing around the stage. And when Graham Max, who was supposed to play after me, came, there was difficulty with getting the correct level of electricity into the equipment. So he was, Jeff moved, that's what I heard, then third person, Jeff moved towards Copet to tell him we're having difficulty with some of the equipment. And Copet said, well, let me go and check the electrician. And he touched the bar and he got shocked. So I didn't see it, but I feel it as if I was there. I think afterwards Mark got the second half of that money for that show. But you couldn't even think about that at the time. And let's go
to the highest moments, the greatest memories. Tell us some of those major memories for Ophelia on stage, even some of the accolades that Ophelia received during her career.
Wow, I don't know if I'll have time, but let me just tell you, I have 1, 2, 3 tables of trophies at home. And these are those that you could see.
What was the greatest moments on stage?
Well, okay, the greatest, and I have to come back to Francis for that one. I remember when I went to perform 4 shows in a place they call Théâtre de la Renaissance in Paris. And every ticket was sold before I arrived in Paris. And when I went on stage with the Viking de la Guadeloupe, who really was my most often used accompanying band, the people started singing, Ophelia, Ophelia. They didn't even want the MC to announce me. And when I came and I started, I think it was with Chanson Amour, Gordon, thank you again, that I started. And people started singing. And I usually perform one song before I say bonsoir. Well, when I said bonsoir, by that time people standing and they moving and the place almost looked like it was shaking. And I went to France then for my Maracas d'Or, which is the first trophy I received outside of Dominica. That burned me a little bit, but afterwards I realized that opened doors for me. Opened a lot of doors. And then, the fact that the place was, every seat was taken. I could even get tickets for my friends because I had a few friends up there. It really made me feel good. And the people from the Caribbean brought people who were not from the Caribbean in that place. And I was the first black person to do a show there. I cannot forget those things. And the Maracas d'Or itself was something where they changed the rules to give me a trophy. for my second album, which is called Chanson d'Amour. I mean, can I say more?
Yes, absolutely. And you would have paved the way for several of the female giants presently in Creole music. The
yes.
Joycelyn Bewa, who was around but doing different stuff and wasn't at the front. The late Edith Lefel and some of the new Zouk artists, Princess Lover. You would have paved that road for them, that avenue for them. Even in Dominica, for several of the women that we have seen springing up lately, quite a bit of women now into the Calypso, into the Creole music. How does it make you feel as one of the first, married, respected, and you had to go out there as that front person and create that avenue, create that legacy?
Well, it really is a big feeling, and I didn't know I was creating any legacy. I just did, to the best of my ability, what I was doing, and I was being myself. I when I go on stage, I become a boss. You know, I tell you, put your hands in the air, and you had better put your hands in the air. But other than that, I am, and people know me, Lady of Song. They don't even want to say my name loud. Lady of Song. Ophelia, and all of that there. So I am those two kinds of personalities, but it's with a positive authority. It's because I want to say, let's go, you know? And I think people catch that, and people catch the love, people catch the almost silent message, let us do this thing together. And like Chubby was talking about lyrics, and so I'm not singing anything, excuse me, and I'm not wearing anything either. And you will not see the things I can do. There are some things I can do, I will only do in my bedroom. But the other things have to be able, my children have to be able to look at them and be proud of their mother. And then I am Mama Creole, as you call me first. And I have a certain, I think, responsibility to bring a positive example to people watching me and listening to me. And I'm sorry if people don't see it my way, but that is my way, because I think it came from on top. And I don't want for Jesus to catch me a certain place where I looking funny and he wouldn't recognize me.
Any advice for the young artists of today, both in Dominica and throughout the Francophone world, as one of the several legends that we have at the Damien Junior Charles Boulevard? You don't like your position, but like I said, the king and the queen and the entrance. But you have done so much for music, for Creole music. I mean, we look up to you.
Yes.
You are, like I always keep telling you, you're sort of parallel to several of our natural attributes. And we have to agree to that fact based on the kind of work you have done and the legacy that you have placed. Final words to the upcoming artists and even artists of today who, like Chubby, may see the money as the preference over potent music, over classical and long-lasting lyrical content that can elevate mankind in general.
Yes, well, I think that is where they should go. Because, you see, a fast buck is a fast buck. There are lots of other things you can do to make a money fast. But afterwards, I think it's our responsibility to educate our country, to educate the people who listen to us, to entertain them, yes. But even while we're entertaining, I have a song, Danse Mon Chéri, that I got from Janet's group. And when I sing it, in the middle of the song, I say, Danse Mon Chéri, remember Yahweh. Danse Mon Chéri, don't forget to pray. And it's not a joke. You have to know where you come from. You have to know who you will answer to at the end. So pick up that kind of aura and go positive with it. You also, I'd like to tell young people quickly, they have to learn the business of music. I had a person who understood at the time where that was going, and with the support from Gordon Henderson and other people like that, he moved so that I could get the status and the compensation for the kind of work. Young people nowadays, the work changed because it's online and you can sell a song, you can sell a quarter of a song and what have you. Learn it and take advantage of it. Because music, as you said, is we play in music, but music is not a game. Music is a business. So work it, be happy where it come from, and take it upwards, not down.
Thank you, Lagwadam de la Chasse Ophelia, and may God bless you. Hope to see you soon, my dear.
Yes, I hope to be home soon. I mean, the doctors are very satisfied with my progress, and I'm planning to come home soon. God bless.
Hope to see you on stage soon as well.
Yes, Gordon. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And once again, happy Women's Day to Ophelia Lagwadam de la Chasse. And we are back in studios at DBS Radio. This is a special edition of Creole Heartbeat, and we are very privileged to actually be doing some coverage on that special book from Gordon Henderson, written by Gordon Henderson, Zookland, and it will be transformed. It will be actually a compiled film, a documentary film, and the name of that film again, Gordon, is?
Fusion Under the Sun.
Fusion Under the Sun, as we try to really get some footage from the artists, some of the artists here in Dominica. We plan to go across Dominica. We plan to go to the cabarets. We plan to actually have all the natural attributes as part of this film. I saw the actual cameramen at work, and they actually put in everything together. I really must big up Gordon in a special way, your special camera crew. The kind of footage I've been seeing them going after, the real delicate aspects of Dominica's fauna and flora and our beauty.
Well, in fact, it's a film company called Spectac. And they have a streaming platform. And, well, after the release of that film, I figure most Dominicans will be familiar, and we might be doing much more work in Dominica on other subjects.
Absolutely. But with us is Pato from the Black Roots. What's up, my brother?
I'm good, Warex.
Pato from the South. And lovely community from Soufriere, Scott said. And you remember Black Roots? How old were you then?
I was like 19, 18, 19.
18, 19?
18, 19, yeah.
When you actually decided to form Black Roots?
Well, I didn't actually decide to form Black Roots. Black Roots just came, it just came on its own, and I just like ride with the wave. Because it wasn't a plan, it just happened. It all happened when I started to listen to Jombolo and Akiaka, and I'm like, I used to pick up the album and just like gazing, I'm like, oh, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, I want to be like that. Yeah, I couldn't put on the album. And not knowing that I would just be in that, and then it happened, all of a sudden it happened. This guy, bless his soul, Royston Ellis.
I heard he just died recently.
Royston Ellis just passed last week.
Yes, I heard he passed last weekend.
Yes,
Royston Ellis.
Yes.
Sympathies to him.
Yes, sympathy. And he was the one who really molded Black Roots, because he had the experience with the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, and and he knew the music scene, and he wanted to work with Gramax first of all. What he thought Gramax was all on their way already. He wanted to start fresh, so he heard about this band. He had our record we did with Nairado in '73. I was like 13, 14 when I wrote this whole album.
No. Let us stop there for a little. Let us go to that particular album in 1973. You were what age you said?
I was 13, 14.
13, 14.
Yeah,
Tell us about what happened
I wrote
and
this
how
album.
you actually eventually got to record.
Yeah, there was this guys from Tetmon. They we had this equipment. They had this equipment. There was a former Groover's equipment. Some guys gave Groover some new equipment. So this guy had the equipment there, but this guy with the equipment, he knew me, and he knew I was like, I love the music. Every time they would come, the Groovers to come to play Soufriere, I would ask them for a jam during intermission time, and I'd catch the crowd by surprise. And usually I would stow away to get inside, and I would come by the guy and say, "Listen, I can sing that song," and they would let me play a song during intermission time. So the guy knew I had that musical thing in me. So he came on straight and said, "Listen, man, I got this equipment. from Groovers, they left me and they with another guy, and I have this equipment. I want to bring this equipment down to Soufriere. I'm like, yeah, bring it down. And I'm thinking to myself, bring it down. I'm the only guy with the musical, talent down there. The guy said, like, I'm bringing it down. So I went around and I'm thinking to myself, this guy could be a drummer. This guy could be a bass man. This guy could be, and that's how we put it together. And we started playing, and we had 3 songs on a cassette. And this guy who was helping us get along, he went to Martinique on a boat. He went by Jacob Narado, and Jacob Narado loved it. And he said, I want this band. And he came down with the news, and I went on a double. I wrote 5 more songs, and then we went to Martinique, recorded the songs, and the band.
Tell us about the recording experience.
Oh, the recording.
Because, you guys were, 14, 15.
Yeah, the record experience. We get to Martinique like 8, 9 in the morning.
8 o'clock.
Yeah,
so
and
you left Scotland at what time?
We left Scotland about like 6.
6
Get
in the morning?
Yes, yeah. Get to Martinique about 9. And from the airport straight to the studio. And then we did not leave the studio about 11:30 at night.
Wow.
One take. And after we get back, we got paid.
You got paid.
We got paid. Yeah, we got paid. Yeah, we got paid $300 US and 50
$300 US
and 50 albums.
And 50 albums.
I didn't complain. This was the best thing ever happened to me. People say this. I'm saying, yeah, I didn't complain about that. We were happy about it. And we had this album back in Soufriere without a band. The band broke up. The guy took his equipment back to Grand Bay. No band.
So you came back to Soufriere without any equipment to
Nothing.
play on?
Nothing. So we have a record and no band.
So what happened to the records you came back with?
Well, we sold,
in the
give to
community,
give to family, friends, and Royston got his hand on one of the on the album, and he's looking for Black Roots, looking for the band. The band doesn't exist, and lo and behold, we got an invitation to play in St. Joseph in a festival, the Gramax Festival in St. Joseph. The guys, because we had a keyboard from Wheaties, I think it was, and they wanted to rent our keyboard. They went up to Soufriere, and the guys like, Pato, man, you guys take a jam, festival.
So
I'm
during
like,
those days, Pato, you would have to borrow pieces of equipment here and there.
Yeah,
This was a serious challenge, I would imagine.
yes. So
without your own equipment, you have
yes.
to keep
So
borrowing.
the guy came up to rent this keyboard, and he told me, listen, get a jam on the festival. I'm like, there's no band. So he said, Pato, come on, put some guys together. And I'm like, and I did the same thing again. I went around picking guys I think that could play. We practiced like a crash. Like 1 week, we get 3 songs together, and we went to the festival, and we played these 3 songs. You could hear a pin drop. We get a round of applause. And coming off the stage, this guy, this rationalist, bless his soul, approaches us and says, listen, I'm looking for this band. I said, what band? We're not a band. He said, listen, who? So he said, listen, I'm interested in this band. I want to work with you guys. And who is your manager? I'm like, we don't have a manager. Who's the band leader? I said, well, I suppose maybe me. So, and the next week, believe it or not, we had a meeting with him. And the following week, he was in Barbados picking up brand new equipment.
Wow.
And came back down, signed the contract. We were in Miro. He provided the house for us. We were living at that house and practicing. And in the space of 2 to 3 months, the band was already taking hold. And the rest is history, as I say. In 6 months to 9 months, we dominated the whole dance scene in Dominica. Bless this guy, because he knew how to promote a band. That's what he does. We couldn't do nothing. We couldn't even play. But he put us out there. He promoted that band so much that we had no choice. We had to play. We had to put up, because people looking Black Roots. They want to hear that band, want to see that band. So we had no choice. We had to go on the double and, perform.
Can you recall your best performance? I mean, the most...
1978. 1978.
1978
on the street of Roseau. Carnival. Yes.
You played in the streets of Roseau?
Yes. We actually had all the bands stop and join Black Roots.
So you were on the road.
On the road on the truck. And I'm not boasting, I'm not bloating. All the bands pack and come to Black Roots.
Okay, I would imagine 1978 would be the times of let's say swinging stars.
Swing Stars, yes. So yes, all these bands and yes. But I remember that world, 1978. I could see all the members of different bands in that crowd, in that band.
What sort of repertoire you played then?
Well, Cadence Lypso. That was the music of the day. You know, I played Chubby.
You play some of Chubby,
Exile One. You know, and that's what it was. And you know, people just fall in line, and yeah, as you said, that was my best experience. We really had this whole crowd, this whole carnival crowd, you know, following Black Roots. You know, this road there, it's from Bridge to Constitution Hill.
Wow.
Yeah, the whole thing was like Black Roots.
Black Roots.
Yeah, we dominated the whole scene. And I said, you know, things, you know, Hurricane David came, and that you know, that was the demise of the band, I would say. After Hurricane David, you know, there was nothing for a couple of years, and music, nothing was happening, and
lost all your equipment.
we lost all the equipment and everything, and that's how Black Roots really ended. But it was a short period, but it was like a boom.
What about the appreciation from the communities of Soufriere and Scott said, because we know during those days,
they were proud.
They would have, let's say, Groovers and Black Machine.
Oh, they were proud. They were so proud because Black Roots was #1 band on the island. So they, you know, they were proud. You know, when you hear Black Roots, Soufriere mentioned, so you know, they were very proud of the band, of themselves. You know, and yeah.
And then you would have migrated after that. You would have gone to the US and did some albums from the US.
No. After a while, I stayed. You know, I didn't play it for a while until Chubby came up to Soufriere and said, "Listen, we have a North American tour, and we want you on there." And that's how I get to New York with Chubby.
So you went up to New York with Chubby.
With Chubby, yeah. And I hate to say that, but I jumped ship. I did not come back. But I think that was the best thing I ever did. I stayed up there, and I started. You know, I played it for a couple little groups up there. But I say, you know, it's a waste of time. I decided to concentrate on family. And I did not touch guitar for like 15 years. The music and then the computer age came around. And I'm like, okay, I don't need musicians. I can do it alone. Gordon can tell you. Gordon can tell you. I went to Gordon and listened. I made Gordon listen to my work. And I started, you know, and I actually did 3 or 4 CDs in my basement. Single-handed. One-man band. You know, and that's it. I stayed up there 20 years. I'm back here with 16 years now. And I think I'm beginning to get back into it again. My son came down the last time, brought some, you know.
Since the Cadence Festival,
yes.
You get a renewed energy.
So he brought down a MacBook Pro, and which I'm like, oh, I'll take it. He brought on his interface and everything, and he said, "Daddy, I'm leaving that for you." I'm like, fine. And right now, I'm into it. I'm into, you know, creating tracks right now. As of now, I'm into creating tracks right now. So you may hear anything soon from me.
We need to commend Pato, because when I met Pato in the US, the computer thing was just about in the beginning.
It was.
And you couldn't get trained, and the internet was not as developed as it is. And this man discovered everything by himself.
Yeah.
I mean, that was new. And when I listened to stuff that he did, I found that it was just fantastic.
Yeah, I had to learn how to use a computer, writing at the same time, learning how to play the keyboard, because you could only you know, play with keyboard at that time. You know, I had to learn to play the keyboard, learn the computer, learn the software, everything. It was like multitasking. I had to multitask, and in the space of like 3 6 months, I begin to understand, and I begin to put tracks together, and I make Gordon listen, and Gordon tell me yes, it's good. I'm like, okay, I'm there.
Absolutely. Real fun times. But we have to go. Gordon, just before we leave, Patro, I really want to thank you for the work that you have done for Dominica and the
Yeah,
industry.
I personally want to thank Gordon. Gordon gave me the inspiration. 'Cause like I said, I would pick up this album and just stare at it for minutes, minutes over minutes. I'm like, I want to beat like Gordon. I want to play music. Gordon and Groovers.
Yes, these were your two
Now,
bands.
there were the two people that really got me
Well,
into
the
it.
student has surpassed the professor. That's how it's supposed to be.
So as we climax, Gordon, I mean, final words about the film, the documentary, and we have to thank DBS for the opportunity.
Fusion
today.
Under the Sun. But of course, we're so happy to be able to do that at DBS because DBS is close to my heart because I worked here in 1979, the year of the hurricane. Yeah, and DBS being a radio station has done so much for Dominican music, and so this film will be done in English and French. So don't worry, you'll be overdubbed and there will be subtitles, and it will be shown all over the world. And Hollywood, another what's the name of the guy who just died?
Royston Ellis.
Another Royston Ellis might be coming down your way.
Who knows? Who knows?
This was a very special edition of Creole Heartbeat Under the Sunshine.
Fusion under
Fusion
the sun.
under the sun. Fusion under the sun. I just have to get it right. And you could look out for this particular documentary, look out for this particular film coming sometime later this year. And we want to really, thank people like Gordon Anderson and all the exponents, all the artists, all the musicians of Cadence, Lypso. Even before that, and our present musicians in Dominica, we want to thank you for holding up the music industry in Dominica. I just want to remind you, this year is the Golden Jubilee of Cadence Lypso 1973 to 2023. So on behalf of Kimara Ito and DBS Radio and DJ Cell, this is Prince Wadix. Until next Wednesday, may God bless you and may God bless Dominica. Thanks to our technical team and thanks to our team from Skyview with us here this morning, filming us. God bless you, everyone.
Pa pou a wete ba moun flè la yo moj a kite la vi. Apresye sa yo ka fè ko yo a pa mi nou jodi. La se mouve vale fye non nou ka krusife moun evi. Fò nou konet pou me yo se pou nou tout sa benefis. For only wonders you done for us all, spreading the culture all over the world. For all the good things that you done for